President Cyril Ramaphosa speaking today at the headquarters of SARS, he was praising the way in which the institution has been reformed, how it's reformed itself since the state capture era. Also talking about what SARS needs to do now and specifically the illicit economy.
We continue to rely on you as SARS on the ongoing fight against corruption and malfeasance in both the public and the private sectors. Now, through lifestyle audits, enforcement actions directed at the illicit economy and other efforts, this organization is playing a critical role and a leading role for that matter. And I saw a demonstration of exactly what you do. And as I looked at all those items that are part of the illicit economy, there are so many, and it must be hard, but we need to give you all the support we need. In the past, I used to think that, it's tobacco. It's things that come in illicitly. But it's much more than that, even toothbrushes. I mean, people even bring toothbrushes, and you and your officials have to be agile enough to look at it and say, but this should not be coming in without tax.
The President speaking this morning. Jashwin Baijoo is a partner and head of strategic engagement and compliance at Tax Consulting SA. Jashwin, good evening. I really do appreciate the time. Thank you. I mean, we all know about the tobacco economy, but toothbrushes, SARS clearly has its work set out for it.
Thanks, Stephen. And look, even if we look at SARS's modernization plan, which they recently released, Modernization 3.0, well, one of their key external factors that they need to focus on to mitigate threats is, economic volatility and illicit activities. And illicit activities, underscores the need for an agile modernization, including e-invoicing, AI-enhanced detection. And as we know, goods crossing the borders, we need those international partnerships. Because if we look at the last stats on illicit activities and compliance erosion, so to speak, there were seizures to the value of 6.7 billion. And that's not just cigarettes. That's anything that has basically going to the country through syndicated tax and customs crimes and illicit and illegal trade flow.
I can just see a scenario. Plenty of people will stand up and cheer if SARS says we're going to crack down on the illicit economy and they go after the illegal cigarettes. The moment that SARS people arrive and start to investigate, for example, a spaza shop, or you see three men in SARS uniforms arresting someone selling individual cigarettes on the side of the road, society will turn on that. The illicit economy is so entrenched, you don't want to sort of crack the nut too hard.
Yeah, so that's correct, and that's why you'll note that over the last year to 18 months or so, what SARS have done gradually is implemented a segmentation model, meaning they have on one side your tax financial crimes, your illicit and illegal trade flows. On the other hand, you've got large international businesses. Then you've got your high wealth individuals. And then you've got most recently probably is your businesses in the gig, shared and social media economies. So each one has a different compliance strategy because as you rightfully said, you can't apply this blanket strategy which may work for, high wealth individuals or businesses that are looking at profit erosion and think it's going to work the same to the guy that's selling illicit cigarettes on the side of the road.
There's been big promises from the SARS Commissioner, Edward Kieswetter. I should really call him the outgoing SARS Commissioner now, I suppose. Are those promises going to be actually impossible to keep? I don't know if I would like to have to be the successor and now you have to live up to someone else's promises because expectations are very high. We're going to be looking to SARS to cover any budget gap.
Look, so addressing the tax gap, so to speak, while what we've seen over Commissioner Kieswetter's term is he has the strategic intent of voluntary compliance, and this requires sustainable investment to increase awareness and the certainty of tax obligations. And anything that he's kind of alluded to say, SARS is going to do this. As an example, the implementation and use of AI and data science to detect non-compliance. 5-6 years ago, we would have heard that and all thought, wow, this is never going to happen. It's SARS, South Africa. But here we are seeing it. Not saying it's perfect because, their processing system, and one example as well, increase in VAT audits, right? Project Billions, surge in VAT audits, focus on PAYE, and by running that through some sort of AI model, well, it's not perfect. When they process bank statements, as an example, for taxpayers, we often see a number of duplications, including inter-account transfers being classified as income and then penalties at 200% being imposed. So it's not perfect, it's a work in progress. But my view on this is, well, if there are promises made, it's not to say it'll, come to fruition in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, but we see that SARS now has a plan. Similarly with their modernization, they've actually got a 5-year rollout with milestones every few months instead of just saying, we're going to do this and that's that.
Kieswetter leaves SARS, I think it's in a couple of weeks. I haven't seen much about the appointment of a successor rather. Do we need a sort of interview process like we had for Kieswetter?
So typically SARS's internal processes would say, yes, there must be an interview process. It must be fair. It must be unbiased. And that is most likely what's going on in the background and probably just a little bit less publicized than the last round.
Jashwin Baijoo, thanks very much indeed. Partner and Head of Strategic Engagement and Compliance at Tax Consulting SA.